Wednesday live stream, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from Louisville, Kentucky. We're supposed to have some bad weather come in this evening. We had some bad weather last night, but the internet's still up. It was down for a while at the store, but everything's good to go. We got a few people watching. All right, talk about a few things. Rachel's Ghost gave me a shout out yesterday when I was sent a message about the George Harrison remastered, where he remixed the White Album in 1968. I'm the one that knew the answer. They were all kind of confused. But George Harrison heard the original compressed mix of the White Album in the United States, and he got furious, flew to LA and remastered the White Album, and that was the version, the mix we had for all these years up till 2018 when Giles Martin remixed it. But the first 33 lacquers were all supposed to be destroyed, but a few of them had already been made and sold when they canceled all the pressings, and they came out of Scranton, Pennsylvania. Perry Cox put one up tonight. It's already at $500 bid. Excellent. His is 28 and 29 on the numbers on the dead wax. And so that kind of answers what happened there, that George Harrison went to Capitol Records in Los Angeles and remixed the album himself. So that's a pretty amazing story.
Do the comments.
Caesar said, "Hey, Frank and family."
How you doing, Caesar? You'd be glad to hear the BC-13 with all sealed pressings that I bought from Perry Cox from 1978. Got lost in the mail in Phoenix, and it's finally in Louisville. I'll get it tomorrow and get your albums out to you right away. Tom Port will be happy because he bought 6 of those pressings.
Safe and Sound Texas said, "Great story, Frank."
All right, Safe and Sound Texas. That's not Dave. What's your first name there, Safe and Sound Texas?
And then Mr. Charles Ray said, "Huge fan of the channel. You guys are great."
All right, thanks a lot. I know that Safe and Sound Texas went and toured Chad Kassem place in Salina, Kansas. I've talked to him on the phone several times, but I've never met him in person. A little gripe I have about Chad Kassem, he put out a video today of the 10 best male singers of all time, and he didn't include John Lennon and Paul McCartney harmonizing in the mid-60s. I sent him a message. I said, I think you kind of left that out of your top 10.
Safe and Sound said, David Bianco.
David Bianco. How you doing, David? But I think Chad Kassem, when he was saying his 10 top male singers of all time, he was only talking about male singers that were on his pressings. And of course, he doesn't have the Beatles pressings, and so I let him know. I said, John and Paul harmonizing together on Beatles for Sale and Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sgt. Pepper. How could you not say that they're some of the best male singers of all time in rock music? They practiced that harmonizing for 10,000 hours, and they knew what to do when they went to the recording studio. All right, one other thing. Pete Townsend was on Jimmy Fallon last week. Pete Townsend from The Who. He's getting on in years. But he came out and he performed with the Broadway cast of Tommy there in New York, a bunch of young people. And it brought tears to my eyes when they were doing a medley of Tommy songs, Pinball Wizard and See Me, Feel Me. And Pete was just singing a little bit, but he was playing acoustic guitar with all these young people that were just terrific singers. And it brought a tear to my eye, all these legends, how they're on in years. They won't be around much longer. They're in the 80s. All right.
Do that last one.
Okay.
What's it say?
He said David Gilmour is the best rock singer.
David Gilmour. Yeah, he's a good rock singer. We listened to Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. I think I got that in the other room. But the other day on the way home from and David Gilmour's all over Dark Side of the Moon. His guitar and his singing is pretty amazing. When I was a rock and roll grocer in Hamilton, Ohio, I owned a big house, and it had a 8-car garage. And inside, before I moved in there, they had a small airplane. And David Gilmour flew to Hamilton, Ohio to see that plane in the garage. So he was actually on a state that I owned at one time. Before I owned it, David Gilmour was there. So that's my close call with David Gilmour.
And Danny Goldstein said, I saw the new Tommy show a week and a half ago in New York. I was honestly disappointed, to be honest.
He was disappointed? I thought that lead singer there on Jimmy Fallon was just amazing. But he was a little disappointed.
Yeah. And then Safe and Sound Texas said, first major concert for me was Who's Next tour in 1972 in Chicago.
Oh, that'd be a good one to see. Who's Next tour? I'm sure they did most of Tommy also on the same concert. Who's Next and Tommy, those are my two favorite Who albums for sure. I saw the Who once in about 78 when Keith Moon was still alive. And Keith Moon was kind of sloppy. I know that he got so drunk sometimes he had to be replaced by another drummer, but the Who were pretty good in that show. And
then Nenox said, do you have the first pressing of UK of Dark Side of the Moon?
I have the USA pressing. You want to get that? It's in my box. I don't have the first UK pressing of Dark Side of the Moon, the one with the blue triangle. At one time last year it was worth over $1,000. It's probably worth $2,000 by now.
Danny Goldstein said Live at Leeds.
Live at Leeds, that's a good one, the Who. I've had that several times with all 12 inserts.
And then the Elvis Cup guy said, what's up, Mr. Stickermania?
All right, Elvis Cup guy. You were on Rachel's Ghost channel earlier today, and somebody was giving you heck. It was probably the Wax. So this is my Dark Side of the Moon first issue from the United States. And it has the posters. I showed this on the last one, and it's got the stickers. It's got everything. But it can't sound like that first UK pressing, I know. All right, Andy Warhol. We didn't finish the Andy Warhol story last time. You want to take that on? Andy Warhol. He created the inside. This one's glued, so you can't see the underwear shot. But this is Andy Warhol in his prime, right over here with the camera. This is in that I magazine from 1968, and that's the whole Andy Warhol gang.
Everyone, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, we're up to over 1,300 subscribers, but we're still at 62% of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed.
And then Mr. Charles Ray said, I saw David Gilmour live twice in 2016, New York City. Since Pink Floyd is my favorite band, it was a huge deal to me. Do you have anything unique from Pink Floyd?
Pink Floyd, that Dark Side of the Moon is all I have. I got a few other Pink Floyds in my storage unit, but I don't have them with me today. I've sold the one that has a black shrink over it. Not coming up with the album. There's Wish You Were Here. I sold that several times in the dark blue shrink that covers the album with the hype sticker.
KRWD said, hi, Frank.
How you doing? You were there last time. All right, one more thing about Rachel's Ghost channel. She gave me a big shout out today, and it was the title of her live stream earlier today was Mr. STICKERMANIA gifts me some what is it? VLT or something like that. But anyway, I gave her a, want to show me that Beatles mono box book there? All the way to the right. There's the book, yeah. Mazzy kind of gave me heck once because that Rachel promotes my channel and I didn't gift her anything, so I sent her a sealed Beatles and mono box set from 2014. So I think Mazzy approved of that, and she showed it on her first of her live stream today. She was pretty thrilled about it.
VCLT.
Yeah, VCLT. Vital Community. I don't know what that LT stands for. All right.
The Elvis Cup guy.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The Elvis Cup guy said, do you have a butcher cover that someone else peeled poorly that you would sell?
Not at the moment. The last two butcher covers I had that weren't peeled that nice, I gave them away in a contest on New Year's, and
Oh, yeah.
can't remember the other time I gave one away. Must have been New Year's was the last one.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve.
And then George Music for All Season said, Rachel gave you a great shout out.
She did. She really promoted having the title. I was the title of her live stream today, and she was talking about me the first 10, 15 minutes. I didn't watch all of Rachel's Ghost live stream today because last night we videoed me peeling this butcher cover, which took 2.5 hours. So we've been concentrating on making a shorter video showing the highlights of me steam peeling this last night. It'll be up on our YouTube channel there within the next few days.
Hopefully.
But I'd say that's a pretty nice stereo peel with that purple banner on the top. These are tougher to peel than the mono, and they're 6 times rarer than a mono copy. Number 2's on the back there, which means Scratton. Has all the printing on the spine. It came out almost near mint condition. Just a few pinhole marks that I had to touch up in this one on the right edge, but their faces and the bodies, everything came out great. I knew once I got the trunk slick off, it was going to be a good stereo peel. You can tell once you start, because sometimes they're real faded even when you start peeling. But this one turned out pretty good. It's got the normal horizontal glue lines right through there. But I got the trunk slick off, and then I spent the last hour getting the rest of the glue and paper off carefully. So that'll be a barn burn when we show the videos, 2 10-minute videos of me peeling this butcher cover. Stereo, 1966. June of 1966.
Do the season real quick.
Caesar said, I saw a great Andy Warhol exhibit at the Museum Jumex in Mexico City. A lot of great pieces there.
All right, that sounds interesting.
And He also said, I told Rachel about the mono empty box you had for sale today. Then she quickly checked, and I noticed it had been sold already.
Yeah, I sold 2 empty boxes with the foam inserts and the silica packs. I sold 2 of them in the last week. I'm all out of inventory on those right now, but next time I get one in, I'll give Rachel a heads up and give her a good deal.
Yeah, he said, I think she sent you an email.
She
Okay.
got this in today. This West Coast peeled mono butcher cover with the number 6 on the back. And this was done by Jim Hansen. Jim Hansen, one of the few people in the world that can get a trunk slick off of the strong West glue, or the West Coast alcohol-based glue they put on these. I've tried about 10 times. Only once have I been successful in doing a nice West Coast. This has a COA from Jim Hansen about the peel. And I'm not sure if he's retired or not, but Gary Hine, my buddy that passed away, he knew how to do the West Coast butcher covers. One thing about Gary Hine, he told me on the last time I talked to him on the phone, he wouldn't tell me his secrets on peeling West Coast butcher covers. He said it's a whole different animal. But he goes, Frank, you know that I've peeled over 3,000 butcher covers in my lifetime? I go, well, that's pretty amazing. All right, butcher covers, butcher covers, butcher covers. And I showed this last time. Amazing story about a West Coast butcher cover with the normal glue circles that they glued them down with, but this was actually has a drill hole cutout, which means this album in 1967 was put out in a record store. They didn't know a butcher cover was underneath it, and it was sold close to for about $1. Can you imagine buying a butcher cover for $1 back then? Didn't even know you had one. It's got age on the back. And this is a butcher cover that I'll peel next week. East Coast with the water-based glue. And faintly you can see Ringo's V-neck there.
Yeah, barely, but you can see it.
All right, let's put the butchers away unless you guys got any question about butcher covers. I sold my original 1966 Beatles Butcher Cover poster today.
You got your other one you can show them.
I had the original of this. I sold this a replica, but the original had a COA for Perry Cox, and it went out in the mail today. It sold for $1,250. Put the butchers away and on to the next.
Go ahead.
Okay. Nenox said, wait.
No, you don't.
I don't know why. It scrolled back all the way.
No, you haven't missed it.
Mr. Charles Ray said, please explain again why the name Mr. STICKERMANIA.
Mr. STICKERMANIA. Want to know how I got my name? It's a takeoff of 2 things. I created it when we had an eBay channel 17 years ago, STICKERMANIA 2853. STICKERMANIA is a takeoff of Beatlemania, and sticker is because I collected albums over the last 30 years that had hype stickers. So that's where STICKERMANIA comes from, Mr. STICKERMANIA. That's the small Hey Jude hype sticker that's affixed to the cover. That's much rarer than the big Hey Jude that goes across the whole top. And this is the Band on the Run that sold today. Now, if you had a band on the run, my buddy Kevin from Kevin Records here in Louisville, Kentucky, said if you had an open band on the run, even in the shrink, it would be worth more than about $20. But this factory sealed first press with Apple on the back there sold for $255 today.
Daniel Castillo said perhaps you may change it to Mr. Butcher soon.
Yeah, well, my goal is to go what Gary Hine, where he was at, and kind of take over what he was doing. I don't know if that means I want to be one of the biggest butcher cover players in the world.
And then the Real Jackson said, I have a sealed OG BOTR too.
Band on the run? All right.
All right.
Here's an amazing sealed album I got from Mr. Perry Cox. A 1977 sealed import. They'd bring them over to New York, whole boxes of them, and they would seal them here in the United States, and they'd sell them in an import section in the record stores. But this is sealed, the audiophile pressing that everybody wants with the all true stereo on side 2. A1, B3 is the matrix. Perfect. 4 square corners. It's just got a loose shrink wrap, so it doesn't look perfect. But if you took this shrink wrap off, the cover, laminate cover, would be in perfect shape. It's up for sale on my eBay store at $350.
Period. Boy. The Real Jackson said, that's an awesome MMT.
It's an awesome magical mystery tour. You are correct.
And then Caesar said, question, who is Perry Cox? I know you've mentioned him.
Perry Cox. Give me that one book. That one. How could you not know who Perry Cox is if you're dealing Beatles? I don't think I have the cover. I've gone through this book so many times. This is the price guide for the Beatle records in America. And Perry Cox has authored the last 5 editions. He supposedly has another one coming out this year. But it has all the rare Beatle pressings, what year they came out, pictures, all the descriptions. It had that whole description about the White Album today that George Harrison remixed. That's who Perry Cox is. He's been dealing in Beatle albums and Beatles memorabilia for 45 years. Now he just sells on consignment for a lot of dealers give him high-end items, and he charges so much to sell it for them. But Perry Cox was the first person that when Alan Livingston's son went to Fest in the was it the close to 1990, and he had a box of thought he had about 8 butcher covers that were all pristine sealed, and Perry Cox was the first person that bought one with no questions asked. All the rest of the people wanted the son to get his dad, Alan, on the phone before they would believe him. But Perry Cox bought the first stereo Livingston butcher cover for $2,500 with no questions asked. Perry knew it was a real deal.
Perry liked the person.
But Perry told me on a message recently that he's been doing it so long that he doesn't know how much longer he can do it. He's been dealing in Beatles memorabilia. Hopefully he'll do this last price guide, but I think he's ready to retire. He's a little younger than I am. I'm 70. Perry's probably about 66.
Good.
All right, some things I sold, history, and I got a purchase history. Then we'll pull out some other new items I got. Let's show some Beatles memorabilia. The what? Got some Beatles memorabilia in the last few days. Sure you'd like to see some of this. We got this Beatles Twig game from 1964. There was a warehouse find of these a few years back. Perfect shape in the package. I don't know how somehow you put this together and it spun around or something. The Beatles Twig game, pretty unusual. Got an original I Love the Beatles, rusted on the back. Says made in the USA on the rim. There's a lot of counterfeits over the last 50 years made of this, but this is the real deal. And out of gumball machines in 1964, these little finger Beatles rings, one of each. They're hard to tell. There's not much difference in them. They all look alike to me. And you got the 4 flicker rings that were sold out of gumball machines. And these are cracked on the back, but these are put in a special thing to keep them in good shape. These sell for close to $100 in perfect shape now for the whole set. You have the red Airflight girls carrying case, vinyl carrying case before, and now I got the black one in today. Pretty nice there on the bottom. It's got some wear to it, but the zipper still works all the way around. You have to be real careful with it. I've had these before where the zipper was messed up and got off of the track. That's what the girls would load up their stuff with and take it to a slumber party or something with their friends. Put that away for now. And we got this Beatles New Beat guitar made in England and imported to the United States in 1964 in the original box. This is one of the nicest ones you'll ever see of this. Got all the packing in the original box there. Oh, I'm gonna have to put that back in when I show this.
Caesar said, I see, yeah, I'm a 90s teen. I was more of a grunge rock alternative listener throughout my youth. Most of my collection is on that. Of course, I knew the Beatles, but just recently got into them.
Yeah, Caesar's trying to get all the HTM pressings from the late 70s. That's where it's at. From the United Kingdom. But this New Beat guitar is almost perfect condition from way back in 64. It says made in England there. It's got the original decal inside that it's made under license from Selco. And it even has the original instruction pamphlet, which you never see on this. That's what it's all about when you have the complete package of this Beatles memorabilia. All right, let's put that away. That is pretty fragile. That is a big kid's guitar. Can you imagine going into a music store back in '64 and they'd have a whole wall full of these Beatle guitars? You saw my little short video where I showed the close-up of my Sgt. Pepper display 3D from 1987 in Canada, made for especially just for Canada record stores, a real rare piece. But the drums all the way out, and then you got the Beatles And then you got black spots for their shadows underneath, behind on the back. That is pretty nice. That's my new Beatles memorabilia that I got in. Before I get into some Led Zeppelin, talk about a few things that happened to me on the internet in the last couple days. I got my $1,900 Led Zeppelin 2 RL hot mix in the other day, and he said it was in near mint, hardly played condition from a record company representative. He bought an estate, and it was in the middle of the albums they had in a high-end estate, and he even had promo sticker on the front cover. But I played it on my Thorns TD320 turntable, and it had paper scuffs, and it had some background noise during Thank You, the quiet part. That's always my test on a Led Zeppelin 2. But I've had 3 near mints pressings of Led Zeppelin 2 before. And the Monarch pressing, of course, is the best pressing with the SS on both sides, sterling sound. But this just didn't match up to the ones I've had before, and he took a return on it. I asked for a $500 refund to keep it, or I wanted to start a return, and he told me to start a return, so it went back out FedEx to him in the mail. But he sent me a little message. He says, I know exactly what that record looks like, and the dead wax and everything. I said, well, I'm going to send you back exactly what you send me. I've been on eBay 17 years. I don't do anything tricky like that, like switch records. All right, purchase history that I got coming in the next 2 days. I told you about the BC13 with sealed albums from 1978 that was imported from England, and Capitol Records put a special numbered box set out. And it even has a special White Album poster where all 4 of them, the pictures are attached, and it's a lot larger than the original glossy photos. So it'll be pretty neat to show them my next on Saturday. But a lot of the sealed albums are going out in the mail tomorrow. But I have a few of them left on my STICKERMANIA 2853 eBay store. I have another Introducing the Beatles Original Authentic Version 2 stereo from February 1964 coming in tomorrow, and it has a red sticker for stereo on the cover and stereos on the record label at the 12 o'clock position. Trying to find real nice Introducing the Beatles stereos from 1964 is a real tough to find. I had one before I sold last week for $888, and this one costs a little less than that. I have a Led Zeppelin House of the Holy, a German pressing near mint coming in a few days. I do have a US I just got in. This is the 1973 issue of Led Zeppelin when it came out, the second issue, and they put that OBI around the cover, but it's got the original 4-digit 7255 number on the OBI. This is a Robert Ludwig RL mix of Led Zeppelin House of the Holy. PB Thouth says the George Pyros from England is the best pressing, but I haven't got a hold of one of those yet.
Charles, real quick.
Okay. Mr. Charles Ray said, is the Beatles your favorite band? What vinyl or memorabilia do you have in your collection that you won't sell, but it's very rare, unique, or special? Not necessarily from Beatles, other bands also.
I used to have a huge Beatles collection, Monkeys collection back in the 70s, 80s, memorabilia. But then when I got on eBay 17 years ago, I started selling the rare pieces. And now I just buy and sell because I'm such an established seller that I can pretty much buy anything I want to, most everything I want to have, and own it for a while. So I don't really hold on to things. There's a few butcher covers I sold that were perfect condition. Kind of had seller's remorse, but I sold them.
Sadly.
Purchase history again. There was a estate sale on eBay where they had 22 Beatles albums they found in a estate sale in a basement. And a lot of them had, you know, damage from being in a basement all those years. And it's not something somebody would normally buy, much less me. But on the very last picture of their 20 pictures, or 24 pictures they're allowed, was a yesterday, and because it was moisture damage in the basement, the trunk slick was starting to come off, and you could see the butcher cover on the bottom. So I'm just crossing my fingers at the East Coast with a water-based glue so I can finish up the peel. So I got all 22 Beatles albums for $250, and 2 of them are Sgt. Pepper picture disc, and one's a butcher cover. So I still think that's a pretty good deal. I have a second state butcher cover coming from East Coast that it's a cover only. Somebody put up for $777 in real nice shape. I bought it right away the other day. And today's big buy, about 2 o'clock this afternoon, a lot of reel-to-reel tapes went off on eBay, and 2 of them were the Beatles White Album, 7.5 inches per second, factory pre-recorded reel-to-reels from 1969. And these are the versions that have the Paul is Dead edits on 7 of the songs. It's probably the rarest Beatles reel-to-reel factory that you can get of any Beatles album. So I won that, and there's also a All Things Must Pass factory pre-recorded reel-to-reel was in the lot. My my buddy Kevin Records, he's getting the rest of them. He's getting the Doors and the Tommy 7.5 inches per second. It's a 2-reel set. And he's getting Simon and Garfunkel and the Doors Absolutely Live. But I put up 2/3 of the bid because I wanted those that real rare Beatles Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the White Album. So this was sitting at $192 for 5 days. That was the highest bid. And there were 36 watchers. And I'm pretty good on these auctions. I knew that $196 was going to go up to about over $700 in a second. So I bid $822 with 2 seconds to go, and I ended up winning it for $695. So it tripled in price in a matter of a second. So I won it. A couple of those albums I showed last time, besides Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, of that lot of albums, I sold the Cream with a hype sticker for White Room, Wheels on Fire with a silver cover. I sold that for $77, and I sold the first Boston album with 2 hype stickers on the shrink for $33. Let's see.
There is a comment.
What's the comment?
Caesar said, what do you think of the classic records pressings of the Led Zeppelin? I know there are mixed opinions. I got the first 5 albums of those and think they're okay, but yeah, a different sound compared to the OGs.
Yeah,
And then he also,
I think the original pressings from the UK, and I've had the turquoise pressing of Led Zeppelin 1 from the United Kingdom, 1969, and I think that, in my ears, that's the best pressing ever. That first pressing in England, freshly made from the master tapes.
he also said they're pricey, but a lot of people want them. Not sure if you looked into them. Nothing like OGs.
I had 6 of the sealed classic records last year. I bought them in a lot from 2005, and I sold them right away, one by one, for about $300 a piece. And one other comment on those pressings, original pressings, Led Zeppelin 4. I had the first pressing from England, 1971, a Led Zeppelin 4. And I had never heard that album sound so audiophile as that first pressing of Led Zeppelin 4 with the Porky, Pecco Duck, and the Dead Wax. It blew away my USA copies. But I sold it a week ago for $350. So Kimbo, if you're out, you missed out on that one. All right, any other things? That's pretty much my purchase history in the next few days. There's a couple things I sold today. The the BC13, the Dutch pressing from Holland. I got that box set for $700 today. This is my 1980 from the UK, but the Andrew from Polygram Auctions says that Dutch pressings are the White Album is the best pressing in the world ever of the White Album, and I agree. I played that on my vintage stereo equipment, and it was amazing. The detail, the vocals, just never heard the White Album quite like that before. One thing about stereo equipment, and I know some of you will disagree with me, but these audiophile pressings mostly come from the 1970s, and I think real nice 1970s vintage equipment that's been, I have magnetic tape recorder here in Louisville. They repair my vintage equipment, and these audiophile pressings really sound good on my Thorns turntable and my Yamaha tube receiver.
Last two.
Daniel Castillo said the gap is much smaller with the turquoise compared to the hot mix.
The gap is what? Much smaller? On the what? A Led Zeppelin 1, or is he talking about between Led Zeppelin 1 and Led Zeppelin 4? I don't know. That Led Zeppelin 1, that turquoise, maybe, I know PB Thal says it's not the best sounding mix of all time, but I thought it was. The what?
Turquoise compared to the hot mix.
Compared to Led Zeppelin 2 hot mix?
Oh,
Maybe that's what he's talking
Yeah, it must be.
Okay.
But that's two different albums.
Daniel Castillo said Andrew can say what he wants in the end. It's all subjective.
You're right. It's subjective what I say, what PB Thal says. We all have our different opinions and different equipment.
Mr. Charles Ray said, what's your stereo system composed of? Power amplifier, preamplifier, speakers?
I live in a condo. Unless I play it with headphones, I can't play it too loud, so my equipment's good enough for me. But my Thorns turntable and my Yamaha receiver that I pulled that up on eBay, and they sell for about $700-800. My turntable's worth a couple thousand.
Daniel Castillo said, well, nothing comes close to Led Zeppelin 2 with Led Zeppelin 1. There could be substitutes.
Yeah. Led Zeppelin 2 hot mix. There is that. They don't have the equipment to ever make this hot mix sound that good again. It's kind of a fluke in all history of rock music, how this one pressing from Robert Ludwig just blew everything else away. But that's the way Jimmy Page wanted it. He was on tour the whole year, and he approved of this mix that was done by Robert Ludwig, and I think some help from Eddie Kramer. And it is just amazing. Anytime anybody hears it for the first time, if you hear a near mint, excellent condition copy of, this is a Presswell, but the Monarch pressing is the best. To me, it's the most powerful rock album ever created in the history of music.
Daniel Castillo said Chad Kassim might release a UHQR.
No, he wishes he could release a UHQR. Jimmy Page has said that nobody else is going to release Led Zeppelin music as long as he's alive. Nobody else is going to remix or mess with the tapes. Jimmy Page has the final word on Led Zeppelin. There was a Led Zeppelin 3 factory reel went off the other day, and I thought I had it. And the last 2 seconds, I bid $220. It was in perfect shape. It's the ultimate way to hear Led Zeppelin 3, and I lost out on it. This is a Led Zeppelin 3 from the United States with a spinning wheel. There's John Bottom, Robert Plant. It's a 1970 pressing from the USA. It has Mastercraft and So Mott Be It in the dead wax. All right, talked about pretty much everything, purchase history and what's sold. I told you about the Dutch pressing. I told you about the sealed band on the run.
Yeah.
That She Loves You promo, or She Loves You, the original red and white label I had the other day from September 1963. It went out in the mail yesterday. It sold for $288, and it was only in good condition, well played. But that pressing original, when that record was a bomb in September 1963, that's the first time I've ever had an original, authentic one with the right dead wax and everything. Amazing story about She Loves You. In about the same time frame, September 1963, Dick Clark played it on Bandstand, and teenagers rated the music of the Beatles, and they just didn't get it. It didn't rate very high. And that record was a bomb in 1963. And then only 4 months later, February 1964 in the United States, it was a #1 record. So that's amazing how in those 4 months it changed so quick.
And KRWD said, wait. Did I say that? No. Okay. KRWD said, not sure why Jimmy Page would want a high quality HQR pressing, even if Chad agreed not to modify the master in any way.
Jimmy Page is not going to do it, and he lives there in England. He's got all his guitars in a vault, and he owns all the master tapes of Led Zeppelin, and he said he's not going to do it. But things could change. Things always change. This is a audiophile pressing from 1980 in the Germany of the Rolling Stones Story. Has 12 albums in here. I've listened to Let It Bleed and Beggar's Banquet so far, and they really sound good. The Germans sure knew how to use the master tapes in the late 1970s, and they had special mastering equipment, lathes, and they were able to get the most out of these rock bands that nobody else in the world seemed to be able to do. The Beatles and Rolling Stones.
He said, I'm not a fan of the big holes in American 45s.
Of the what?
Big holes.
Big holes in 45.
I don't know what that means.
Well, this is a German pressing, and it has the big holes too, of My Bonnie. I know England has a small hole. This is the second version of My Bonnie. Tony Sheridan and the Beat Brothers with an English intro that they released to England, imported to England, so they could sell it in Brian Epstein's record store there in Liverpool when everybody was asking for the new Beatles record.
Ninox said, can you sing Band on the Run?
Can I sing Band on the Run?
Yeah, they
No.
want you to sing.
I'm not a singer. I'll leave the singing to you. Got this Led Zeppelin from 2008 40th anniversary CD box set. What's nice about this, they're all HM CD, which must be an audiophile CD. And Japan put these out. They're a little smaller than US CDs, but this is factory sealed from 2008. And so anyway, I've had this before. It must be the ultimate way to hear Led Zeppelin on a CD.
Daniel Castillo said, you can damage the records by inserting the adapter.
In the 45.
Yeah, you can. In the old days, we took those 45s and we would have either a special adapter that would go in that hole, and then it would drop one at a time. You just stack up the 45s and you'd have a little party and play 10 records in a row. But you would never do that today, but that's what we did back there, late 60s, early 70s.
Good life.
All right, we've shown everything. The White Album, I talked about that. My Sgt. Pepper.
What the hell, boy?
I showed Andy Warhol. My buddy Kevin Rickards has the first pressing of the. Who did
What?
Velvet Underground? And so we might have that for the Saturday live stream, the first pressing of a 45 of the Velvet Underground. And on the record label, he showed me a picture today, it says produced by Andy Warhol on the record label. So he produced the very first single of the Velvet Underground. It's a pretty rare record. Shown this several times. This is my mono copy. I must not have the stereo now. Beatles Sgt. Pepper from 1967. PMC means mono, and if it said PS, it'd be the stereo.
Daniel Castillo said, I have a mono East Coast first press of Velvet Underground banana still intact.
Now that's pretty amazing. Does it have the torso airbrushed on the back?
KRWD said, I have about 10 of the early metal 45 adapters. They're antiques now.
The metal adapters? Yeah, I have a few of those.
He said no torso airbrush.
Yeah, that would be the no torso. If you had the torso, the very first pressing of that album, it'd be worth way over $1,000. This is a first late 60s issue of Sgt. Pepper. The first issues would be on a white cartridge, and they changed it to a black cartridge because everybody was complaining in the cars that the white cartridge showed too much wear. But it's got the original print pink label, and that's the sleeve that the original Beatles 8-tracks were sold in the stores in the late 1960s.
See, they said the quality of the image of the live stream is pretty low quality right now, just informing you. Says something, I don't know what was happening.
Maybe something to do with what I said, the weather.
Yeah, maybe the internet's acting up, who knows?
Yeah, we may lose the internet there, all of us there. The way the weather's acting up, and they said when a sun flare happens, we could lose the internet, and we got that eclipse, what's happening this next Monday. So all you young people better figure out something else to do when we lose the internet. These are two Beatles hand tags from Los Angeles in 1966. I got that in that Beatles memorabilia collection. Got the original holes there on top. that it would attach to the clothing. It says Authentic Mod Fashions from American Sportsman Company of Los Angeles. All right, we have about 50 minutes or so.
We're 55. So
55. Any final questions before we end this live stream?
Caesar said the quality.
Well, we read that one already.
Bro, why'd you read that?
Well, just because I was worried about
No,
it.
I guess no.
All right, Sticker granddaughter did a good job helping out today. She wasn't so tired. I guess she took a short nap after working at the grocery
spring
store.
break this week.
The what?
Spring break this week.
Oh yeah, she didn't. No wonder I forgot it's spring break. That's why she didn't go to school today. That's why she's got a little more energy.
Yay.
All right, I think that's it from.
Yeah, Caesar said, yeah, it might be, because he says usually it's good. So, all right, well, we appreciate it, Caesar.
Yeah, thanks. And Caesar, your albums will all go out in the mail tomorrow. And Tom Port, if you hear this from Better Records, all your sealed pressings are going to go out. And I know you're going to hold on to them. You're not going to sell them as a white stamper or nothing like that. That's a little side joke. All right. Thanks
Have
a lot
a nice
from
night.
Louisville, Kentucky, and